Hi everyone, and welcome to today's edition of the Daily HUD. My name is Sierra.
And I'm Dom. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today because it is Friday. The weekend is upon us, and you know that means all of the esports happenings are happenings on the weekends.
Over the weekend.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to go.
A lot of new things happening. We got this beautiful new studio.
Yeah, we do.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Looking towards what's happening this weekend, we're going to start things off by taking a look at our Battle Royales. First up, we've got Fortnite. Afterwards, we're going to be taking a look at what's happening with PUBG. The NPL is making its return with Week 2 this weekend. After that, we're going to be taking a look at our shooters. The Overwatch Pro League, the Overwatch League will be happening.
CSGO Blast Pro Madrid,
yeah.
MDL Disneyland, that's Dota 2, LOL MSI. We've got the NBA 2K League results, the RLCS, and some interesting news from Sony.
Taking a page out of the book from Nintendo with the Nintendo Direct. So it is exciting to see what's going to be happening with that as well. But hey, let's actually get into what's happening this weekend in a little bit more detail now that we've got all our introductions out of the way. You know who we are, you know what we're going to be talking about, so let's go ahead and dive right in. First things first, Fortnite. The online opens are entering Week 5 this weekend, and this is also the debut of Season 9 for the Fortnite Online Opens.
Right, so two things at once, and we've got a lot of people excited to use those new shotguns.
Yeah.
Right, but then they also have access to the drop gun.
Yes, so we've got ourselves the combat shotgun, which is coming in to replace what was previously the pump shotgun, and the pump is iconic. The pump is synonymous with Fortnite. It is so strong. You just one tap or swap to a second shotgun and get another massive shot for huge damage. But in Season 9, which just came out this Thursday morning, it was returned to the vault, sent to the vault. It has disappeared and been replaced instead with a combat shotgun. So this is a massive sort of disappearance. A lot of people are wondering what can possibly fill the void of the pump action shotgun. Well, the combat shotgun looks to be the answer.
Yes.
This has a much smaller damage threshold, however it fires faster, and we're also starting to see some initial testing. I got a chance to play with it a little bit last night, that though the numbers are a little bit lower on the first hit, because it fires faster, it also has a very, very large medium range. So you can use it as a replacement for an auto rifle for short to medium range engagement. So previously with the pump action, you would walk up, you would fire your one shot, immediately swap to another gun. With the pump action, with the combat shotgun, you don't need to do that anymore.
So the damage isn't as extreme, but you can reload and go faster. I'm thinking that might not be fair to add
it's not the pump action. It's not the boom, boom. It's the boom, 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 boom. So it has a very consistent rate of fire, and because that cone is so very tight on the spread, it's consistent up to medium range, which is a little bit concerning. I think in what Epic Games wanted to do by reducing the skill cap of learning how to use the pump action shotgun, they replaced it with the combat shotgun. There is a high skill ceiling to learning that weapon.
Right, definitely. They're constantly adding different changes. We're in Season 9. We've lost some top dog players last week who are out, unable to use these new weapons. So maybe the cheating's going to be more on the side of like weapon use?
That's always,
I don't know.
That's always the question.
It's like whack-a-mole with Fortnite happening right here. They're killing one thing and then they got another one and then...
That's exactly the point.
How can we even out this playing field?
We don't know. Epic Games, they've been playing catch up since Week 1. They said, we've got an esports league, and now they're falling behind in their esports league. It's got a $30 million prize pool, but people are cheating.
300 million.
30 million.
Oh, 30 million.
30 million.
Right.
And 300 would be, oh my goodness.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I would have to leave right now and just start playing at home on the competitive scene.
But people are cheating.
People are cheating,
We'll just have to see how things shake out.
Yeah. It's really kind of a struggle for how things are going with Fortnite. Fingers are crossed, however, that it's going to be looking a little bit better for them moving forward because Epic is taking such strong stances in this. But again, it's still only a matter of time before another article comes out and they say another cheater caught qualifying for the World Cup.
Well, good luck to those underdogs out there playing in the global championships. I hope that you can make it ahead of all these cheaters and these changes of weapons. Moving on, we're going to be covering PUBG's NPL as it returns this weekend with week 2.
Yes, so the National PUBG League, the North American PUBG League, will be taking place this weekend. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. E United are currently in first place. Cloud9 is in 3rd, Tempo Storm in 4th. The games will be beginning this Saturday evening. Now, again, this is the premier PUBG League. The PEL has been putting on a pretty strong performance with the games that we saw at the end of Stage 1. They also competed rather well in the regional invitationals, sort of in between Stage 1 and Stage 2. But the way that PUBG has entered the Battle Royale arena is a lot more compelling in that they're constantly trying to maintain consistent seasons over the course of the year. With the Fortnite World Cup, you've got 10 weeks of play, and then the World Cup finals, and that's it. With PUBG, they've split it into an Overwatch style. It's got a whole bunch of different stages. You've got Stage 1, which was in February and March. You've got Stage 2, which is running May through June. You've got Stage 3, which is running, I want to say August and September. And in between each of those stages, you've got big international tournaments culminating at the grand finals at the end of the year. So the NPL being the premier tournament, the North American League for this tournament, finally getting a chance to see it return towards Stage 2 is really exciting.
That is exciting.
This is the big league. This is the big dogs for PUBG, and it's the other side of the coin, where Fortnite is anyone can play, anyone can compete, but you also get cheaters, and you get balance patches and balance changes. With PUBG, it's much more highly policed. It's all in the arena. It's all with dedicated teams, referees on staff, the consistent weekly broadcast. It's so interesting to see two similar games in the Battle Royale genre diverge so completely from each other in their seasonal styles.
I'm really curious as to who second place is on this roster.
Well, I mean, it's going to continue changing over the course of the season because the games will continue. Again, we've got week 1 of 5 for these weekends, and I believe each weekend 8 rounds of play are played overall. So still a whole bunch of stuff going on for the duration of this season, and those are going to change. Currently, E United are in first. I don't expect that to last very long.
Right, that's a little bit of a surprising turn of events.
So still, we're also going to be taking a look towards Cloud9's performance.
Right, and all these games begin on Saturday evening.
Yes, they will begin tomorrow evening, so keep your browsers tuned to what's going to be happening towards that, because we're now transitioning out of Battle Royales and instead are looking...
shooter games. Yes. We've got the Overwatch League playoffs.
The shooty games, exactly.
Which began last night. Let's see, San Francisco Shock, of course, they are undefeated, which is no surprise.
Yeah, so again, the San Francisco Shock played in our first game last night. They went 3-1 against the Hangzhou Sparks. The London Spitfire played they went 3-1 against the Shanghai Dragons. Hangzhou Sparks went 3-1 against the London Spitfire.
Right.
I'm just getting all my names mixed up today. Because again, there's so much esports happening this weekend.
Oh, but you did tell me earlier that they lost one game.
Yes. So that's the important thing. San Francisco Shock, they won. They've advanced to the semifinals.
Of course.
They're undefeated in matches.
Undefeated in matches.
But they dropped a map against the Shanghai Dragons.
They lost a map.
Not just any team, but the Shanghai Dragons, which were previously one of the worst teams in the Overwatch League. Like, it's good for the Shanghai Dragons that they're improving, that they've made it into their first Overwatch playoffs in Stage 2, but this really shouldn't have happened. The San Francisco Shock is the team that should look at the Shanghai Dragons, and then the Dragons just fall over dead.
Could this be the beginning of the end?
It's a little early to say. It's the one game. It's a little early to say.
I know. Well, I'm a huge, SF Bay Area fan, so I hope that they make it through. But they did lose a map, so we'll be keeping our eyes close on that San Francisco Shock.
Yeah. Now we will have more matches happening tonight.
Right. Yes. We've got the New York Excelsior versus the Los Angeles Gladiators. So that's West Coast, East Coast, and then we have the Dallas Fuel versus the Vancouver Titans, the South and the North. So it looks like all the regions are covered.
Yeah, and while I wanted to be able to say, this is the game you should watch. Of the two, Dallas Fuel versus our other teams is the one that you should watch. There are so many good games happening over this weekend. So New York Excelsior is playing once again, which New York Excelsior, they were eliminated very early in the previous playoffs, but they were a very strong contender leading up to the playoffs. So this is a chance for them to redeem themselves. On the other side of the coin, you've got the Vancouver Titans and the Dallas Fuel,
who have major backing. I mean, we've got the Canucks and we've got actually the Cowboys backing these teams.
With these organizations funded by such massive franchises, we are expecting some pretty big things from them. Speaking specifically to the performance of these teams, the Titans were the champions of Season 1 of playoffs earlier this year from
Regional
Vancouver.
Love, Vancouver.
So they upset the San Francisco Shock, who were the favorites going into this. Dallas Fuel have been putting on a pretty good performance lately as well, specifically after the Dallas Homestead. So while I'm not saying I'm expecting Dallas to win, I do think that it is going to be a very compelling best of series to watch.
Yeah.
It's still probably going to go the Titans' way because, again, they're the ex-champions. They're still performing very, very well. But you got to watch the Dallas Fuel right now because every once in a while they pop off and it is super fun to watch.
Definitely. We'll keep our eyes on that and give you the updates as they come in.
Yeah, of course, that will be on our next Daily HUD this Monday. But looking towards our next event, we've got to turn towards our next shooter over here.
The
CSGO is returning with the Blast Pro Madrid, which will be happening this weekend as well. Now, this is not the first Blast Pro event of the year. We had the Miami just a few weeks prior, and we just finished up IEM Sydney, so we're just chugging along with our CSGO tournament circuit. In the Blast Pro Madrid, again, we see standard 6 teams compete in a regular round-robin best-of-1 format with the top 2 teams advancing to the finals and the 3rd place team going into that Blast Pro standoff. Now, tell us what those teams are. There's no surprise.
Currently, we have 6 teams. First of all, Astralis, who, a little side note, is also kind of funded by this Blast Pro, so they will always be competing. We have Ents, infamous Ninjas in Pajamas, Cloud9, and Navi. There will be 1 team to qualify to the Iberian play-ins. 2 teams are currently vying. That's Movistar, Riders, and the Giants.
Yeah. Now, again, as you said, Astralis is the team to watch for this. They're a spectacular team. And as you said, their parent organization is the same organization that funds and creates the Blast Pro series.
Right.
So, again, we're going to be seeing Astralis at just about every Blast Pro.
Pretty much.
Yeah, unless they decide to take a hiatus, which I don't imagine the boss man's going to be super happy about.
1 team we're not seeing is Team Liquid, correct?
Yes,
because they were in the Blast Pro
Miami,
Rio,
where they went 2nd place.
And Rio as well.
I believe they competed in as well.
But then they went over to Sydney and they won.
And they won IEM Sydney, the week-long tournament full of games just before that.
And we don't need to Blast Pro.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
That Team Liquid versus Astralis was what we wanted to see.
Right.
That was the big clash of titans that we were hoping for. But Team Liquid went 2nd place in Blast Pro Miami, won IEM Sydney, still has to worry about the ESL Pro League, which is still going on. So maybe they deserve a weekend break. Because they have been flying and traveling all over the place to compete in these games. I believe the ESL Pro League is still happening, I want to say in Berlin.
Right. Yeah, we weren't sure about that.
Berlin, Miami, Sydney, and then Madrid afterwards.
I'm
constantly flying and traveling.
Honestly, I'm just a little bit upset to not see MIBR compete in this variation of the Blast Pro. They seem to be like an upset contender. They thought they were an easy team to beat, but they really came through in the Blast Pro Miami. Why didn't they get the chance to go to Madrid?
I mean, we can only wonder that exact same question,
and that's speculate.
That's why I think a lot of players are dissatisfied with the Blast Pro format,
right?
Because it's only 6 teams that enter into this weekend tournament with a single round robin best of 1, and only the top 2 teams going to a best of 3 finals. So, can you accurately judge the skill of all of the teams competing on a high-level basis?
It's only favorites.
Exactly.
Right.
And even then, favorites that are invited. So if a new up-and-coming team full of just home pick'em stars suddenly qualifies through, I don't know, the ESL Pro League or something.
However they choose.
It's still up to the Blast Pro series to choose to invite that team.
Right.
And there's been a lot of speculation about the conversation of the caliber of the teams and whether or not it's fair to be an invitational-only style event without a qualifier. Now, we do know that there are regional qualifiers. As you said, the Iberian Peninsula qualifier for Movistar, and I want to say the Giants was the other team.
Yes, that was.
So there is an opportunity for smaller teams to get in. It feels like a token rather than a legitimate chance. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that is some good coverage, and really keep in mind those teams that are actually playing.
Yeah, we're still going to be watching.
And we will give you the updates, of course. Moving on, we're going to talk about the MDL Disneyland Major for Dota 2. It still rages on.
Yes.
What are we, week 4, week 5?
Day 4.
Day 4.
It is a week-long tournament. It started last Saturday and will end this Sunday with the grand finals. And this is the big one. The MDL Disneyland Major has a ticket at the end of it for the International 2019, which everybody has
big
their
money
eyes
on the line there.
Yeah.
Big money on the line.
But yesterday we did have a handful of games. We closed out the lower bracket round 2. Today we got a chance to see PSG LGD take a 2-0 against Virtus Pro. As of the time of writing, Team Liquid was taking on Vici. However, we do have a conclusion.
Yes.
Vici led the series at 1-0, but Team Liquid was able to get the return and come back, advancing to the next round. Now,
Team Liquid slowly moving forward. Now they have 4 more wins that they got to take before they reach the grand finals, which is a surprising upset because they lost first round in the upper brackets.
And we're still looking to see how Team Liquid will perform over the rest of this tournament. However, we will get a chance to return towards the upper bracket for the first time in days. Team Secret will challenge OG up first. Afterwards, we're going to be getting Evil Geniuses versus Ninjas and Pajamas. So there's still a whole bunch of very, very fun and compelling games going on. If OG end up dropping into the losers bracket, they could end up against PSG LGD.
Which would be a repeat.
Yes, that would be a rematch of the International 2018 Grand Finals, in which OG won the series 3-2.
Oh boy.
So it would be in a best of 3 format to see them play against each other again. The other alternative option is that Origin wins, advances all the way to the grand finals, and then LGD does the exact same thing from the bottom side, and they get a best of 5 rematch on the grand stage of Disneyland this time around. So there is still a lot of compelling storylines and excitement happening this weekend.
Yeah, and a lot of money on the line for those internationals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the international prize pool is just growing daily.
It was just shocking to see Team Liquid just lose. It's like they just kind of gave
round
up.
1.
I mean, they really need to maintain to keep
They
going.
were able to claim the series against Vici earlier this morning.
Yeah.
So they are still maneuvering their way towards those grand finals, towards those playoffs. It's going to be an uphill battle, and I just want to come back to the international, the prize pool growing more and more.
Right.
I just kind of wish we could start our own GoFundMe for not like a prize pool, but just for like life, you know?
No, I heard this girl, she said, yeah, I started a GoFundMe just for me so that I can travel the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, that would be great. I mean, the international is doing it with prize pools. Well, she's traveling the world.
Yeah.
I could really
use a vacation.
We'll just collectively do an Esports Channel vacation GoFundMe sponsored by the international.
We have a game coming up in Philly, right? It's not has anything to do with Dota 2.
That's the Overwatch League finals
in Philly in September. We're gonna be there.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a chance to report on that event
Philly
live.
cheesesteak.
Yeah. But the fact that we're seeing these prize pools grow to such massive amounts is so
It's hard
exciting.
to conceptualize.
I mean, Fortnite's rocking 30 million. International might be the best chance for someone to try and upset that $30 million prize pool with their World Cup.
It's also interesting to note that the Fortnite 30 million goes to the actual players, whereas this 300,000, you've got sponsors, you've got support. I mean, there's a whole team.
MDL Disneyland?
Yeah, I mean, for the international. So it's like that money actually goes to like an entire organization.
Your coach,
your handler. You got what's it called when you
the guy who signs autographs for you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Your writer. You got to cover your writer.
Exactly. I guess some of the top teams, some of the top players in Fortnite are sponsored by teams, and I imagine they get a percentage or a cut at that sort of level. I'm not exactly privy to those sort of numbers myself, but I can only imagine that it sort of distributes in that way. But as we've said, we've still got the MDL Disneyland majors going on. That's going to be lasting.
And the finals are on Sunday.
Sunday night, yeah. So we've got a whole bunch of games going on. Now, turning our attention towards the next MOBA, the one with a little bit of a smaller prize pool.
MOBA.
Yeah, the mid-season invitational at League of Legends resumed this morning, and with group stage, things are starting to get real intense. Now, we're just going to give you a quick run-through of the teams to watch in the group stage. First up, we've got the LPL's Invictus Gaming. They are the world champions from 2018. They are the first 2018 the first LPL team to win the grand finals, and they deserved it so much. It's been, as an LPL caster, it has been so long to see these fantastic teams perform so well in the regional stage, go to the finals, advance so far, only to crumble on the big stage. And Invictus Gaming finally have figured out the formula to close out in big international tournaments. And I think a lot of that comes to Rookie and the Shy. These two guys, previously Korean players, currently playing in China, are so spectacular right now. Rookie, first of all, is just one of the most talented players in the world. He is so dedicated to the amount of work that he does. But then pair the Shy with him in the top lane, who is arguably the best player at the tournament. And you have an absolute threat to deal with.
So this is a single-player shooter game where each of
This is the MOBA.
Teams?
This is the 5v5. Yeah.
So this is a team. Our
Invictus
friend,
Gaming.
the Shy, is
He plays the top
Gaming.
lane for IG. You've got Rookie in the mid lane. I want to say Ning in the jungle, Baolan support, and Jackie Love, AD carry. Get it, Jackie Love.
I get it.
Again, everybody's going to be watching for Rookie versus Faker because this has been the fabled match that, Faker is Faker. Everybody knows Faker.
Let's see. SKT are expected to have a large presence in this tournament that's in Europe and has high hopes for G2. They are also clearly the best team in Europe with 80-minute finals and one of the fastest games in LEC history.
Yeah.
But will that style shine on the international stage?
I mean, that's the big question for G2. Faker of SKT from Korea he's Faker. He is inevitable. So there's really not that much that you can do to stop Faker. He's the best player of all time, even if he's not the best player at any given time, if that makes sense. So it's kind of the GOAT discussion.
Right.
Michael Jordan versus, I don't know basketball. Are there any other good players? Is it Kevin Durant?
I don't know. I'm Curry. I'm a huge Steph Curry fan.
Steph Curry, that's the other one. So Faker's the GOAT. Like, everyone knows and agrees that he's the best. He's been playing since 2013, taking names, winning tournaments, and now he's got competition. Now he's got people who are actually giving him a good challenge, and SKT are returning to that top stage. Returning to the discussion about Europe, though, G2 are just chock full of talented players right now. And while Europe went very, very far in Worlds last year, we're wondering to see if that momentum continues in 2019.
G2 has their fingers in lots of pies right now.
Yes.
They're really
they're
dominating
playing Nico
the
bottom.
force.
They put Caps in the bottom lane as well. So they're really all over the place. No matter what happens, G2 is going to be fun to watch.
Yes.
So may not be the most competitive when they're playing against something like IG or SKT at the top level, but it's going to be a blast to watch.
Okay. So I want to talk about North America.
Okay.
Let's see. The North American team is Team Liquid, but Double Lift is on the roster. So is that a double negative?
I mean,
I don't know.
It's North America in internationals. North America never does well in internationals. If we're lucky if we make it out of groups, and when we do make it out of groups, we almost always get smacked down in the first round of playoffs. Especially with, as you said, Double Lift, who has historically never made it out of groups. So you have to wonder, is it a double negative? Will it actually work out this time? Will the double negatives turn into a positive, and they will make it out of group stage?
North America.
But again, considering the competition that's at this tournament, they're playing well, they're playing smart. The biggest trouble for North America has been that they're not always super proactive. So maybe they can pull something together here.
The expectations for the Flash Wolves aren't super high with the new roster. They have a lot to overcome. Buffalo are climbing uphill in this tournament. There's no Doubt about it.
Yeah, no.
Doubt it.
No doubt about it. Yeah. My dad said that to me yesterday. And I was like, that's going in the script.
I know I even changed it and you changed it back.
No doubt about it. So Flash Wolves. Yeah. It's the Flash Wolves. They always make it. We don't know how well they're going to perform now that they're finally seeing some roster changes. Finally, the Buffalo, as you said, qualifying in from the play-in stage. They have got an uphill battle to climb. They are the most underdog they could possibly dog under.
So that's what I love them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. They are a tiny buffalo surrounded by dinosaurs.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we are going to move on to the NBA 2K League.
It's probably a good idea because I feel like I could talk about League of Legends forever.
Yeah, he would talk about League of Legends forever.
Yeah.
He definitely would. We are in the middle of the Turn Tournament.
Yes.
So yesterday's game, Wizard Gaming lost over Magic Gaming 55-79. Pistons Gaming lost to Raptors Uprising GC 47-56. Grizz Gaming lost to the Timberwolves. Home team 73-68. Celtics Crossover Gaming won over Net SGC 73-39. That's whopping. The Knicks Gaming kicked the Lakers Gaming's booty with 61-50. The 76ers GC versus the Hawks Talon. GC ended with a 68-56, and that went for the 79ers. Happening right now as we're filming, we've got Heat versus Warriors Gaming, so that's a little Miami and a little bit of Warriors happening. Tomorrow's games, based on the results, will be the Celtics versus the Pacers, Knicks versus the Mavs, Timberwolves versus the Blazers, Raptors Uprising versus Bucks Gaming, Magic Gaming versus Kings Guard Gaming, the Crush Legion GC versus Jazz Gaming. And this is interesting because Jazz has been a serious contender, winning many games over my beloved Warriors, but the turnaround is happening as we speak, so we'll have to see what will happen. Tomorrow is the last day of the tournament, and we will let you know as those games are announced.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing to note as I was looking at the stats, Warriors and Jazz are neck and neck. They're pretty much equal, just 1 point underneath. So that maybe is based on points. Yes. It's very interesting how they've kind of tallied this up together.
Yeah,
it's hard
we were kind of trying to figure out how they determine who exactly is the first seed versus the second seed, if they're both at 100% win rate. Because the points differential doesn't seem to paint a clear picture.
Yeah.
For example, Mavs are 7-0.
Right.
But they're in second place to another team that's at 4-0.
Right. Exactly.
And the points differential I think was 13 for our first place, and then maybe like and then I think 2 or 3 points for the Mavs on that point differential.
So we will really just have to see how this all shakes out.
Yeah, it doesn't really compare down to the bottom side of the standings. Either way, the NBA Turn Tournament is going to be super compelling for the duration of this weekend. It's happening right now in Las Vegas, and I want to say the Esports Arena. Yes.
Our only girl out there playing at the NBA 2K League. I love you.
So if you're in the Vegas area or just in the southwestern United States and you feel like taking a road trip, head on over and hop into the arena to see it live. Vegas. Because again, the NBA 2K League is running a similar format to I guess
regular season play.
Yeah, they're running 5 weeks of standard regular play. Then they've got an invitational tournament. Then another 7 weeks to finish off the regular season before the grand finals.
And the finals are August 3rd.
Yes, so that's going to be happening much later. We're going to be covering the NBA 2K League for the next few weeks at least.
Yes.
Because again, it is so exciting, and it does have that, as you always like to say, the 12th man, that crowd interaction.
Yes.
For
regionals.
Exactly, regional support.
Gets me really excited.
Yeah.
I was born in St. Paul, so I'm like Timberwolves, and then I like the Warriors, and then I wish the Sonics were playing, but you know how that goes.
Well, I was born in Miami, but I gotta say that my heart is in Los Angeles. So any Lakers, the Valiants and the Gladiators, that's where I'm looking at.
Okay, moving on. RLCS Regional Championship is running through this weekend. Cloud9 is no longer the #1 team to beat, though they are still great. They're showing that they are fallible in dropping 3 series in a row after game 4-0. Though their match against G2 was razor close and showed some top-notch skill. If Cloud9 can reclaim top form, they should easily be able to advance deeply into the tournament. Moving on, FC Barcelona have just qualified in from the rival series, but Barcelona's electric play netted them the first top 2 of the RLCS in their first season since being promoted. Barcelona features an ultra-aggressive style that favored individual and skillful playmaking over coordinated teams play, and that's kind of contradictory to the Cloud9 setup of their teams, how they really appreciate having group team play.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's exciting about FC Barcelona is
Yeah.
because while they were in the rival series, they were about that ultra-aggressive individualistic style. Since they've joined the RLCS here in Season 7, they've now escalated their play style to emphasize team play. And suddenly you take these massively talented individual playmakers and then also spice in a whole bunch of team play, and you get a team that very clearly places first in the second in the regular season. It's Vitality who was in first place, just ahead of them. So again, a lot of people are going to be watching Vitality to see how they perform as they are seeding higher into that tournament. But really, you should be watching Barcelona because, again, they are partnered with FC Barcelona, the actual football club. Which is, I think, just hilarious that you've got FC Barcelona, one of the biggest sports organizations of all time with soccer,
Football.
The football to you regular folks outside of the Americas. But then they also have a Rocket League team with rocket cars and giant balls and big old arenas. So just the juxtaposition of FC Barcelona and Rocket League, I think, is hilarious. So there's still a whole bunch of really cool stuff going on elsewhere. But yeah, that Rocket League coverage will be happening this weekend for the regional tournaments. We'll be giving you the updates on everything that's happening throughout the rest of the weekend when we return next Monday. And while there is still going to be plenty more of smaller tournaments going on this weekend, we're instead going to turn our attention, because if we covered everything, the show would probably be like 90 minutes, 2 hours. I imagine you've probably got better things to do.
We're going to get there.
Yeah, we're going to get towards our video game news. Now, the PlayStation State of Play dropped yesterday evening.
Yes.
And this was wild for a lot of people. You and I watched the trailer this morning.
Yes.
Normally, Sony, whenever they drop content, they wait for a big event like E3, or they have a press conference, or they make sure that it gets as much publicity.
Or it's at an event or something like that.
They want publicity. They want it to go as wide as possible
But they
through
just
conventional channels.
Drop this.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything.
They had a small announcement beforehand. Hey, the State of Play is happening tonight. Check it out on Twitch. And it was a 13-minute video in total length. They didn't say what was going to be on it. And this is very similar to how Nintendo drops their things with Nintendo Directs. And it just... We're going to run through everything that dropped real quick because it is so exciting.
It's really quick. Let's see. We have Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
Iceborne, Medieval.
Yeah, so again, first Monster Hunter World, massive DLC. Everyone's excited for it. That we're getting to see it emphasized on the PlayStation 4 is very, very compelling. You also talked about Medieval. That will be releasing in October of 2019.
October 25th to be exact. It's good to see a date nailed down.
In just like 5 months, that is going to be coming out.
And that's really fun.
Super cool to see the old, like, early 2000s/90s almost remade into modern graphics.
I remember watching my uncle play that, and it scared the crap out of me. It was so scary.
Yeah, and it looks great now. It looks fantastic
it looks
in 2019.
Really
another first-party title from Sony Online Entertainment is going to be Predator Hunting Grounds for 2020, and I'm actually pretty excited for that. It's only about a 90-second trailer that teases it. It is an asymmetric multiplayer, so you're going to have 4 people playing as Marines, going through the jungle, and